Alright, so now we are at the last step and the stages for the enumerations of the users, directories, groups, computers, and everything inside the Active Directory, domains, and the domain controllers. Now, at the last, we are going to use the Bloodhound. That is actually a fantastic tool, but at the same time, this is hectic to use for either for the pen testers or for the red teaming operations guys and the users. Let's see how do you see this as a as an user and the red team user. So for me, this is completely hectic to use as a red teamer and even as a pen tester, but somehow as a pen tester this is not hectic and this is easier, but as a red teamer you need to bypass antiviruses and do some more things inside the Windows server. Let's see all of these things step by step. Now coming to the first thing first, the installations. Installations parts are also hectic in this case. You need to install the Neo4j database first. So depending on the operating system you have, you can install using the Neo4j on Windows, macOS, and the Linux. So for demonstration, I have used over the macOS for better analysis and for better command over the Bloodhound. So this is just a graph tool to visualize everything. Like if you have used the Multigo, that is the open source intelligence tool, then you will be aware about the Bloodhound is similar to that somewhat, but all of the things are done actually in automated way. So for the installations, you can first install the Neo4j either on the platforms, then move to the console as mentioned here. Go to start the Neo4j console, and once you start that, it will be like this one. So this is the Neo4j. I have started over the macOS. It is running over the port 7474. And at first it will ask for the password to change. By default, the username and the password is Neo4j, and the password is also Neo4j. But at the time when you see this window, it will ask for changing the password. So I have changed this password, but the username will be same, Neo4j. So just keep in mind. Now moving to once again back to the installations of the Bloodhound graphical user interface. So this was just the database, actually you can say, that use the NoSQL databases. Now once this is started over, you can download the Bloodhound Gui, and that looks like this one. And this is simple that I have used for the analysis. And this is the graph Bloodhound actually to visualize everything from domain to whatever information it collects depending on the how do you use the tool. The another tool that we are going to use here, and once the Bloodhound tool, that is the GUI graphical user interface, or simply say the graph, has been installed and open, now the major things start here and begins the use of the another tool that is called the Sharphound. Actually the Sharphound is the data collection kind of tool that collects the databases and all of the informations from the Windows API functions and LDAP namespaces, lightweight directory access protocol. And for the demonstration and ease of use, I have used the first one link here to download the collectors in the executable and the PowerShell format. So this is easier to download. You can go to this tool after installation of the Neo4j and running the Bloodhound tool or the graph. You need to download this one. So going to this link, you will see the collectors, and these are the collectors inside the Bloodhound. So either you can download the complete Bloodhound or simply all these 4 things here. But for in my cases, I have downloaded the complete Bloodhound here, and go to code and simply download the zip file here. So once this zip file has been downloaded, let me show you the zip file. Before going to that, let me show you something more. Alright, so this is the page. Once everything has been downloaded, now the uses starts here. So this sharphound.exe is the main tool here. That is, you can say, the core component of the Bloodhound that collects the data from the Active Directory. And this tool requires to be run over the PowerShell or on the CMD, that is the command prompt. Otherwise, it is not going to work. So this is the major difference between the Bloodhound and Sharphound. Sharphound is the data collection tool. It collects all of the data by default, but it also checks for, you can see all of these are the default things that it will collect. But if you want, you can put more commands in this way to get more data. Still, the default one also gets and receives more default data sets that is sufficient for examinations and for the enumerations of the Active Directory relations and to make sure the complete usage of the Bloodhound. Alright, for the informations, let me show you. For the informations, for those who don't know what is the Bloodhound tool. So technically, Bloodhound is just for the visual graphics of the data gathered by the Sharphound, and this is the informations all it gets from the this website and how it actually works. So you can say it becomes more easier to analyze all of the data using the Bloodhound, and it also says what is the shortest path to attack the user or the particular user or the domain user, so that you will not waste the time. So that's the best part here. You can see here, this is the informations and how the graphs actually says, graph theory, and many things are there to cover up. In this case, we can see here, if we compromise JDOI user, this is the shortest path to reach the domain admins. And here we can see the members and the shortest path of the like here we can see this is the John Doe, and once the John Doe is compromised, for the domain admins, let's check where the domain admins are actually. So the domain admins are here. So this shows and illustrates what is the best and the shortest path to compromise the other user in this case for your desires. Alright, so now this information is enough for the Bloodhound. Now we have installed the database, we have started the Bloodhound. Now it's time for the data collection. So going to the Sharphound, you need to download this one, compiled, that is the pre-compiled binary. And once this is downloaded, now the main hectic parts start for the red teamers. That in many cases, Sharphound tool is going to be detected as an antivirus, and in that case, the antivirus tool or the Windows Defender is going to delete this simply. So this is your hectic things to cover up all those things, how you will bypass the runtime executions. So you need to check this out, and here are some of the options like Sharphound versus antiviruses. So there are the options, there are the features that how you can bypass that too. You need to bypass using either using the PowerShell like the Power Exploit that have the antivirus bypass technique, or if you are using as a pen tester, you will have to disable all of the things like the security kind of things, antiviruses and the Windows Defender. In my cases, I have done nothing, just disabled the antiviruses, in this case the Defender. So let me log in it first, and here we can see the Bloodhound master that I downloaded so this is just one like the collectors. So here are the collectors, and this one is the application executable that requires to be run in order to collect the data from the target details in the Active Directory. Now let's do one thing more here. So how you will get this tool inside the Windows Server? What you can do is, what I have done is using the shared folder. So here you may find out the Bloodhound and the Sharphound. Both of the tools are here. So moving to the Sharphound, this is the Sharphound 3 master. There is nothing much, so this was actually binary. And the Bloodhound tool requires only, so this was the Bloodhound. Alright, so let me close this, and here is the file that I have used. So now what I will do is simply go to the collectors and start the Sharphound as it is. It will start and finish automatically. Once it is started and finished, it will create a zip folder. Here you can see zip folder has been created. One was the first that I used, and second was as of now running. So this will be created. Now it's your turn to transfer this file to where the Bloodhound graphs are actually running, because not all the tools can be running over the server, because you are the raid teamer or as a pen tester, you can have on the different systems. For the informations, Bloodhound can also be started over the non-domain networks, like here. You can see running Sharphound from a non-domain joint system. So even if a system is not joining the domain controller, still you can run the Sharphound and use that in a different way, and the data will be collected similar to the as we are running over the server. Now as we have collected the data, everything is here. Let me show you the command prompt here. So this is the terminal that I am running for the Bloodhound or the Neo J4. This way, this is the Bloodhound. Now what you have to do is simply go to all of the data that you have found and transferred from the server. So all these are the data you can see here. Just simply drag and drop to this space, and once you drag and drop to this space, it will be okay to. Alright, so let me cancel this first, otherwise there will be duplicates of the data. Alright, so now we have the data sets and gathered all of the informations related to the informations inside the Active Directory and what the Sharphound have collected too. Now we can get to stretch it anywhere we want to and get the informations like the member of. So here we can see the administrator, here the SQL service are the member of the domain admins. So this shows every information. So like we can see the designated administrators of the domain. Now we can see the high value. So what is this high value says? Reachable high value targets, and high value targets for the domain admins. We can see here, let me summarize this way. We can see the all extended rights, ons, generic right. So these are the rights for the particular users. In this case, for we can see the backup operators, print operators, server operators, and so on. So these are for the domain admins. All these are domain admins, and this is actually visualized in this way, and all of the informations are published here. Still we can see the group members are also there. Direct members are of 2. So domain admins having the direct members. The first one is, let me close this first. Okay, so SQL service and the administrator. So these are the direct members of domain admins. Now moving to some of the more informations like the admin rights to derivative local admin rights. So which person have the, like this is the domain controller, hacking DC, and this might be bunk. All right, so this is the computer that we have already gathered and that we have already enumerated using several techniques in this case. And we can also do many things like simply say just right click here, and we can see the set as a starting node, set as ending node, and the shortest path to here. So let me check it out for more analysis data, and then find all the domain admins. Let me use users with foreign domain groups for the grayhead.local. Alright, so there is nothing. Find computers where domain users are local admin for domain users. Alright, so there is nothing more. Find dangerous rights for the domain groups. Still nothing. List all Kerberoable accounts. So all these accounts are that can be Kerberosted. We will see in the attacking module. Alright, so these two, like the KRB TGT and the SQL service account, can be Kerberosted using the Kerberosting techniques, and all of the informations will be here once we are going to attack this in the upcoming modules. Coming to the analysis of more to show the path, that is the shortest path. Find computers with unsupported operating systems, nothing here. Most privileged, nothing here. And let me check it out for the more users. Map domain trust. Find principals. Alright, so shortest path to domain admins. Alright, so now let's analyze the shortest path to the domain admins. So here we can see for the all of the informations which is the shortest path for domain admins. So clicking over the here we can see the default domain policy. So this is the domain policy, and all of the associated informations will be listed here. Going to group policy link here, we can see the domain. So this is the current domain, major domain here, and once I click here, this is opened up. That contains local, that is the grayhead.local contains this user administrator, and throughout going to administrator we can pawn or compromise the domain admins. And so this is the shortest path. So if I'm the user, another user, let me check it out if it's not. All right, so this is not there. If I'm the SQL service user, say it as a starting node. So this is the shortest path for myself. Now I'm going to use the analysis techniques to find the shortest paths to domain admins. And here it is. Now all of the informations regarding that will be available for the domain admins. So this is the shortest path for domain administrators. Many things are there that can be customized here, that can be changed, like going to the graphs. We can refresh the graphs here. We can change the layout. We can change the layout once again, change the settings for the number of nodes and all of the informations. Let me click this to close all. Going to find shortest path to high value targets. All right, so now this looks interesting to all of us. Now this is saying that let me check for once again. Let me go to shortest paths to high value targets. So all these are the high value targets. In this case, we can say, so this is the starting point, default domain controllers policy. This is the domain controllers. So this is the grayhead DC, and no more information inside this one. Going to the users, enterprise domain, this is the member of generic all. This is the local domain, and once you go over any of the link like this way, we can find out the informations, or we need to stretch it out a little bit to get more clearer view. And this is also All right. So now we can see the link between all of these domains and the enterprise. All these informations requires the investigation, similar to the that we already know, or if you are keen to know, like the Multigo, that is the investigation kind of the tool that use the same graph, similar types of graphs to check for and link all of the informations regarding the target. So here we can see this owns, so this user administrator owns this grayhead.local, and everything is written here in order to get it clear everything. So what you are getting, so you can see this is also domain admins also owns this one administrator. So actually these are the only one person, and administrator have owned how many we can see here. So all these red lines are going to the domain admins and the enterprise admins. We can also see this one, backup operators. This is the domain. This one is also account operators. This is now connected to this one. Now if I am going to find out the informations about print operators, or let me check. This user administrator. All right, so if I'm going to compromise the administrator, all right, so if I'm going to compromise this or simply mark user as owned, so if I am the administrator, or if I've owned this account, administrator account, so what will be the shortest path for most highest values? So once again, let me run the analysis here. Shortest paths to unconstrained delegation systems. All right, so now it have more data. Now we can see where is my account. We visualize this is the skull mark has been put inside on the administrator account name here, picture here. Now the shortest path to the delegations, unconstrained delegations, we can see either by going to this domain admins or by going to the Hakin-TC. So this is the domain controller, and going to the enterprise admin 2, and this is to going to the punk. So this way we can go to unconstrained delegations. Now moving more to all right, so if I'm going to attack this punk, we can't cover up everything inside this one because we are going to use Bloodhound heavily on the upcoming modules wherever it is required. So now set as the ending node. So my target in this case, or simple say my high value target is the punk.grayhead.local. So it had been marked. So going throughout all of the pre-built analytics queries, we can query everything to check for informations. And as we now have all of the informations, that how we can gain many informations regarding where to start, where to get the unconstrained delegation systems, and all of these things are there. So now we can see this is marked as 1, and this also requires the further investigations. You need to learn many things before going to start Bloodhound. This gives the simplified view actually, and that is the reason why the Bloodhound is so popular for the community in raid teaming operations. So this is the fun part actually, to use the Bloodhound and get most of the data in the fun way. So just play around and find out all of the information you require to. See you in the next lessons and the next modules. Thank you.